If you're needing money and XP, this is going to be the best way you can get both at the same time. Each run is going to net you tens of thousands of XP, as well as 30,000 to 40,000 gold per run. Being able to do both of this at the same time is extremely beneficial, and it's the best XP and gold farming process that I've found so far. Now, to be able to do this, you're going to need to head to TagBackTV. If you're far enough through the story, you can just pass through the checkpoint rest town. You can sneak around the edges if you don't have access to that, or you can just sneak on a fancy ox cart at the checkpoint rest town, and they'll sneak you through the border checkpoint. But regardless, you need to get to TagBackTV. Once we head out of TagBackTV, we're going to head down the left path, and we're going to follow this path all the way down the mountain, killing anything we find along the way. Now, the benefit here is there's going to be these goblins or hobgoblins or whatever you want to call them that give a decent amount of XP and DCP. There's going to be a lot of these along the path, giving anywhere from 400 to 1000 XP per kill. If you do happen to encounter any hobgoblins that are tooting their horn to summon reinforcements, I recommend actually letting them summon the reinforcements. That way you can get more XP and DCP, because they're just going to bring more things for you to be able to fight and kill. Now, you do want to also make sure to collect anything from these dead bodies. You can get quite a bit of money from doing this, as well as items to be able to upgrade your equipment, which once you get so many of them, you can also sell them for more money as well. Now, once you get to the harpies, we're going to go around this corner here, and there's going to be another group of hobgoblins right around the corner. Once you take out that pack of goblins, we're going to go back to the road, and we're going to follow this up into the corner. We're going to go back to the road, and then we're going to turn left to go up further into the mountains. We're going to be going to a cave up top. Now, you can take out this other group of hobgoblins right here as well. We're basically going to try and kill as many things on this path as possible to optimize as much XP as we can get. Now, if you're lucky, you'll also come into these little side objectives where you have to slay a bunch of enemies. You'll be able to get some extra money and XP from doing this as well. Once you take out that pack, you're going to continue up to the top of this area here. Sometimes there's going to be a pack of wolves up here. They're not here all the time, but if they are, then it's just more XP for you. Now, once you get to the top, you're going to find a little tent, and if you turn to the right, there's going to be a cave that is the Miner's Cave. There's going to be a cave called the Digger's Ruins. Now, there are a lot of chests in this cave, so the first time you go in here, make sure to look for all the chests. It's going to make the run take a little bit longer, but it's definitely worth collecting everything you possibly can in here, because even if you don't want to end up using it, you can just sell it for more money on your first run. Now, the reason we're coming into this cave is for this stuff right here. When we pick it up, you can see that this is called Glimmer Coal. You're going to be collecting Glimmer Coal and Glimmer Coal. One of them is kind of lit up green. The green ones are going to sell for more, but really we want to collect every single piece that we can possibly find in this cave. And there is an absolute ton of it. Basically, every nook and cranny is going to be covered in this stuff, and it's going to be able to sell for quite a bit of money. So the main goal here is to collect every ounce of Glimmer Coal that you can have, kill as many enemies as possible, and collect all the chests within this cave. There's also mining points in here that you can collect as well. And make sure to look out for little ladders that are going to take you up to different spots, because there is going to be stuff hidden literally everywhere. So what I recommend doing is collecting everything along this right side path when you first get in. Don't go crossing the bridges just yet. Mine everything that you possibly can. Mine everything that you possibly can. Mine everything that you possibly can around this path. And then you're going to jump down. There is possibility of having some slimes down in this little hole, and they can be pretty annoying, so make sure you have some magic casters in your party. There's going to be a couple different actual mining nodes down here, which you can use to upgrade your equipment or be able to sell as well. There's also a chest right there in that top right corner with some more Glimmer Coal up there too. But we want to run to the other side of this little area where we're going to find another mining node, as well as more Glimmer Coal. And it's going to check this whole bottom area. Now, this little rockway to the left is also going to have a bunch of it to collect. We're just going to grab all of this. We're not going to go all the way up just yet, because there's still another nook that we need to get into. One of the things that you can also do to help you locate some of this for your first time is you can actually turn off your lantern here, and you'll start seeing the good ones glowing in the dark, which will lead you to patches of other ones as well. If we turn our lantern back on, we can run over to this little nook where we saw a whole bunch of it, and we're just going to collect all this too. So essentially the moral of this story is just to make sure to check every single nook and cranny. The first 2 times that you go in here, it's going to be a little bit cumbersome because you're just going to be learning where everything is, kind of understanding this cave, and the best ways to get to each thing. But once you do this once or twice, you'll get the hang of it, and you'll get faster and faster each time. Once your inventory gets full, don't forget that you can give this to some of your other pawns to be able to hold everything for you. you're going to be collecting an absolute ton of this. So utilizing your pawns is going to be imperative. Once you collect everything on the right and bottom, you're going to continue to the left side. We're going to continue through the cavern. You can drop down on this side to be able to collect the chest, as well as a massive amount of glimmer coal here as well. Now from this left side, you're going to head into another room here. There's not a ton of glimmer coal at the bottom of this room. You don't need to push forward. There is going to be slimes and more of these goblins down here as well. The majority of the glimmer coal that you're going to find in this particular spot is going to be on this ledge right here, as well as just in this little nook below the ledge. Then you can head back up, cross the bridge, and continue forward. As you climb this, there is a chance that the goblins are going to start trying to drop rocks on you, so pay attention to that. Usually that'll only happen your first time here, but there's also a lot of glimmer coal to be had along this ridge where they're dropping rocks on your face. Now, if you're encumbered before you head into this next room, you're going to want to make sure to give your pawns any excess items that you have. You can see just how much we're getting already because our pawns are already getting super thick with all the weight. Now, once you continue into this room, there's going to be a chained up minotaur here. This actually drops some pretty good equipment, and there's another chest in this room you can get as well. Now with minotaurs, you want to try and get them to run into the walls. That way they fall down and you can hit their weak points and do a lot of damage. And the nice thing about this is you're going to get a lot of XP for taking this thing out as well. We got 8,496 XP and 176 DCP for taking it out. You can also gather up all the items in this area if you want to. Now, if you continue down this little ledge here, at the very bottom, you can pick up a chest with a fairy stone inside of it. But then you need to head up to where the Minotaur was, and you're going to continue up this path right here, where you're going to find a lot more glimmer coal and a ladder that you can drop down. We're not going to drop down that ladder yet. We're going to continue going up this path because there's a lot more collecting to do. Now at this point, we have made it to the end of the cave. It means we're going to drop down this ledge, and before we drop down the next ledge, we're going to turn left with another room with some chests in it, with another room with a chest in it, and an absolute ton of glimmer coal. Now this might be the biggest patch of glimmer coal yet, so prepare to be cucumbered pretty bad. Now once you collect everything in that room, you're free to exit the cave. You're just going to drop down that ledge, and you might even find some more glimmer coal that you missed along the way. Now from this point, depending on how cucumbered you are, you can do two things. You can either head back to Back Batal to be able to sell all of your items, or you can do an even larger loop to be able to get more XP. If you want to get more XP, you can continue down the mountain, where you're going to head towards the campsite at the very bottom. I tend to skip these Saurians, so we're not going to fight those, but there are going to be some of these hobgoblins near this campsite that we can take out before we camp. There are tons of enemies down in this camp area, so if it is getting to nighttime, you want to make sure you take them out before you continue on. Once you kill everything in this area, just set up camp and rest till morning. Then we're going to make a left and follow this road up to the crumbling ruins. There are going to be a lot of wolves along this path, as well as a griffin that can attack. So this is definitely going to be a little bit more challenging of a path, but you don't have to choose to take if you don't want to. Now the problem with fighting the griffin is it will fly away if you don't inflict it with fire damage. If you inflict a griffin with fire damage, it actually won't be able to fly away, and it's going to make it significantly easier to be able to kill. But regardless, the griffin isn't necessarily the main target of this area. Once you get to the crumbling ruins, you're either going to come across golems or some cyclops in armor. If you've never encountered cyclops in armor, they can be a bit of a pain because you have to break off their armor before you're actually able to do a lot of damage to them. So you can attack their feet and or their chest to be able to break off all the armor, but once you do that, they're essentially exactly the same. Now, if there's one Cyclops here, that means there is going to be another Golem here as well. So it's kind of a random assortment of things that can happen here, but there's also going to be a lot of the Hobgoblins in this area as well. Now, the Golems are what we really want to be in this area, and if you've never fought Golems before, you need to actually target their blue seals that are going to be all over their body, whether they're on their back, shoulders, arms, things like that. You're going to want to make sure to keep an eye out for all of these weak points. The most annoying of which being on this little shoulder area because they kind of hide it from you, and it definitely makes fighting them a little bit more annoying. But the reason you want to fight these is because you get a ton of XP for them, but you also can make a ton of money from harvesting their bodies. Now, once one of the seals kind of disappears, you're not going to be able to use it anymore to be able to deal damage. You're going to have to keep an eye on which ones are showing. This right shoulder one is the most annoying. It's what makes fighting these a little bit more annoying than otherwise would be. Using Rogue for this is particularly good because you can just use the Helm Splitter to hit most of the parts. Once you know their weak points, though, it's really not that bad to take them out. Now, when these guys punch down on the ground, that's when that seal on that shoulder is going to be visible, and you can do a lot of damage. Now, you'll get 9,000 XP for doing this and a lot of DCP as well. You're also going to find a lot of these magic metals. Now these magic metals are going to sell for 1,200 gold a piece. And you can also harvest the body for some really expensive ore as well. Now, after you defeat one of these golems, you want to make sure to really check the area for any more of these magic metals because you really don't want to leave any behind. They're also going to be great for upgrading magical weapons as well. Now, there is a campsite nearby. If you're cruising for a bruising after fighting a bunch of golems, griffins, and cyclops, resting at this campsite might not be a bad idea. Once you wake up from sleeping at the camp, if you decided to, there's going to be another pack of these hobgoblins up here, which you can get for a little bit more XP. Once you defeat these, we're just going to turn around, and we are going to start heading back to Batal, killing anything along the way. Now, you can sell everything that you gathered, or just the Glimmer Coal and the Glimmer Coal. The Glimmer Coal is going to be a little bit more expensive, so the 28 that we got here is 5,000 gold. We started this run alone, before even selling anything, at 3,000 gold, so we already got 6,000 just from farming up enemies. We made another 5,000 there, another 4,200 from that Glimmer Coal. Now we can sell the iron and copper ore if we want to, but really we're just going to focus on the Glimmer Coal. It's another 6,900 that we had on Morrigan, and another 1,440, and another 6,450. So we started that run with about 4,000 gold, and we ended it with 3,594 gold. So on average, you can make about 30,000 gold per run. Now, if you decided to take the additional route, the magic metals are going to sell for 1,200 gold a pop, which means you're going to make an extra 7,200 gold just from a single golem. So the golems are definitely what you're going to be hoping for if you run into them. Now, once you've sold all your items, you can head over to the inn near the entrance of Batal, and there's a place to sit here. And if you sit down at one of these benches, you can pass time by dozing off. And if you spam the doze off button, you can actually just continuously doze off without having to stand back up. And you're going to pass at least 5 days here if you haven't slept anywhere else since collecting everything in the mine. So you're going to do this until 5 nights have passed. You can do 6 just to be safe because sometimes the respawn stuff is a little bit wonky. But once you pass 5 or 6 days, you can head back out and you can do the loop again.